So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Planets Through Ascendant series. And this week we're going to be covering Moon in the 5th house in the sign of Virgo. And what happens when Moon is in the 5th house in the sign of Virgo in your particular horoscope. And as always, if you do not know, if you have this Moon, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details. For that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Moon in the 5th house in the sign of Virgo. So, when Moon is in the 5th house in Virgo, first of all, Moon is ruling the 3rd house with communication, arts, media, creativity, marketing, sales, travel. And then it goes into the 5th house, which is 3 places away from itself. And that is known as a concept of bhavat bhavam. Okay. Because a planet is exactly same spaces away as the number of the house. So if it rules the 3rd house, then 3rd from the 3rd is the 5th house. And 5th house is the higher self of the 3rd house, which represents performing arts, cinema, stage, Broadway. It represents ancient knowledge, mantras. It represents your past life good deeds, education, and children. So especially here, first of all, with Moon in Virgo shows that a person will have a lot of daughters and beautiful daughters. And specifically with the birth of children, one will find great success coming. And especially for Taurus ascendant, when Moon is in the 5th house, through the birth of children, a person may even do business. Because it suddenly activates the ability to make money through your own effort. Why? 3rd house is your own effort. So whenever you have your child, the first child, you're activating the scenario of the 3rd lord in the 5th house. And naturally, a person is always inclined towards music, writing, environmental science, medicine. The other thing we see with Moon in the 5th house is that educational pursuits will be heavily influenced by your younger sibling or a sister or a mother. A female in your life will somehow be connected to the education that you receive. Even let's say you had a friend growing up. Let's say you're a boy. You had a friend growing up who's a girl as your neighbor. And you guys were just friends, innocent friends. And as friends, she suggests that, maybe you should go into environmental science. Maybe you should go towards biomechanical science. And you're like, wow, that's a great suggestion. Now, throughout life, people think that, oh, well, you chose this. And yes, you were destined to choose this, but the suggestion would come through a female. Suggestion will come through a friendly female. Now, one thing that kind of becomes a bit negative with this particular Moon is a addiction for gambling. There can be absolute addiction for gambling, playing poker. Such people will travel to Vegas. Because remember, Moon is a significator of traveling. 3rd house is traveling. 5th house is gambling, stock markets, besides everything else. And Moon has that ability to give addiction issues, because addiction is where? Addiction is not in the heart. It's not in your lungs. It's not in your legs. It's not in your wrist. It's in the mind. That I want this now. I need to have this now. So I'm going to get it. And Moon is that planet that loves to be in a regal, royal, lavish place, having many, many women around them. Because if you study the mythology of the Moon in Vedic astrological text, Moon was a lustful graha, lustful planet, just wanted to sleep with all kinds of women all the time. Because Moon, Chandra, is a male. We give the Moon the quality of a female, like Venus. But Moon and Shukra, meaning Moon and Venus, are actually male deities. So a lot of lustful nature comes into play. Now, especially when you're looking at a female's horoscope, and in a female's horoscope, if moon is at a particular degree, she will be an excellent mother, excellent student, scholar, okay, a doctor, accountant, but at a specific degree, especially in a female's chart, the sex drive kind of depletes, or there's no interest in wanting to have, raw, wild sex. You probably just want to have sex when you want to have children. That usually happens. Now, of course, I don't want to say the degree and all that because, I don't want to impact people, but I'm just letting you know it does occur in that. Obviously, this is something that I would teach in my school to people who want to learn astrology and become astrologers themselves, where I'm going to talk about these type of scenarios under the constellation, meaning nakshatra section at my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy. With moon in the 5th house, a person's mind is always involved in romance. But there's a problem. When the person's trying to raise children, be in romance, or any creative things they do, they become too critical, they become too detail-oriented. Like, remember, love and romance is about broad strokes. It's about feeling it, okay? This is a type of person who will calculate at what time what should be done in romance. Where should you go at what time? Because I want to make sure that the sun is at this particular degree when it's setting, so the light hits perfectly on this beach shore when I'm looking at her eyes. So I have to make sure I'm at this point at this particular junction of our date, and it can drive them a little crazy because everybody does do some calculation. Maybe I should take her here, but most of the time, if you don't have this type of a moon, a person will be okay with whatever comes. They're going by the strides. They're going by the waves. They don't have to calculate everything. But for this person, how to raise children, when to do this with them, when to do with them, make them do this, make them do that, it becomes this calculated mathematical problem. Like romance for such person internally can become a mathematical equation because it's about solving, okay, I need to be a more romantic person with this. I have to be a more sexual person with this. Well, first I'm going to be doing this, then I'm going to make this move, then this move, and then I'm going to kiss them on the neck, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give them a flower. It's too much thinking. And what happens is when they're thinking so much within them, and when they're trying to execute that plan, it looks very fake. So one advice I will give you is just don't worry about the details, worry about the broad strokes. That, wow, I have a person that I can be in romance with. That's it. Whether you go to the beach after sunset, whether you go to the beach before sunset, whether you get into the restaurant of your liking or not, it's about the broad strokes. Because why am I saying this? Because I do, relationship consultations where people tell me certain things. And when I'm looking at the planetary placement, I'm like, of course, everything is in the mind. That's why moon is one of the most important planets in astrology. It's the mind. It's how you perceive everything. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of moon in the 5th house for Taurus ascendant people. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your moon is placed, all the other astrological details, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. And Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. How long do I have to hold like this? Because my camera is not stopping. Bye-bye. Oh, screw it.